What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all around the world? We are in effect on a Monday night. Some things got settled this weekend. I was very pleased with what I saw, and I got to be honest with you, man. I thought it was great. Of all the stuff that I saw, I thought it was fantastic. We definitely got to the bottom of some things. We definitely got to the bottom of some things this weekend. Yes, we did. 100% we did. Because if you think about what was at stake here, right? If you think about what was at stake here, you got the number one defense in the league going up against the best player in the world and the defending world champions. That's going on. I mean, I don't think that you can ask for anything more in that particular situation. With that being said, you have the other number one seed in the other bracket going up against Luka Doncic, the league leading scorer in the game. So some things got settled this weekend, and then you had two game sevens and a game six, and you had the depleted New York Knicks, who were basically held together with glue and tape, dragging themselves into that series, game seven, which I didn't think Indiana was going to pull that out. I didn't. And the reason why I didn't think so is because I felt like with this team and the resilience that they had, there was no way Indiana is coming into Madison Square Garden and winning game seven. But it was obvious that OG couldn't go. It was obvious that he couldn't go. But he gave it a run, which I think it was noble of him. I won't argue that. I think it was noble of him. But it was obvious that he couldn't go. I don't even think he played 5 minutes. He went up and down the floor a couple of times and he could barely run. Barely. And he went out of the game and he was done for the rest of the afternoon. But what I want to talk about is I want to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I want to talk about I've been watching basketball. I want to talk about the fact that I've been watching basketball. I played basketball at a high level. I've watched basketball since I was a child. My uncle introduced me to the game as a toddler. I'm 5 years old. He's got me in front of the TV watching Gus Johnson and Dennis Johnson and the Seattle Supersonics. He's got me watching the Washington Bullets and Wes Unseld. He's telling me about Doc and Jabbar. I've been watching basketball for a long, long time. I played basketball at a high level, and I've seen a lot of things change in the game. A lot. I've seen a lot of players come. I've seen a lot of players go. I've seen a lot of styles come. I've seen a lot of styles go. One thing that I found out throughout my travels in basketball, both watching and playing, one thing that does not change. When you're trying to win, you got to get stops and you got to rebound. You got to get stops and you got to rebound. That's the only way that's going to happen. If you think that you're just going to continuously run the score up and you're just going to go bucket for bucket with somebody until somebody misses, that's not going to get it done. It's not. Because you're going to run into teams that are so potent offensively that have more than what you have. And you can't play like that. And you're going to lose. That's what's going to happen. So you have to have a staple. You have to have something to stand on. You have to. And that thing that you stand on is we have to stop you. And we have to close out plays by rebounding the basketball. That's what Minnesota's done. That's been their staple all year long. If I'm not mistaken, I think Rudy led the league in rebounding this year. And if he didn't lead the league in rebounding, I think he was in the top three, something like that. I know Joker was second in the league in rebounding. I do know that. I know that I know that Rudy Gobert was at the top of the list in rebounding this season. And I think Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think I could be wrong, but I'm pretty confident Rudy Gobert was at the top of the league in rebounding this year. If he didn't lead the league in rebounding, he was right next to the league leader. With him being there, that's a staple in our defense where we get stops. You got to rebound the basketball. I thought Minnesota did a great job yesterday in staying engaged. They could have rolled over after falling 20 in a hole. They could have straight rolled over. Instead, what they did was they turned their defensive effort up. How did they do that? I thought they did a great job. Anthony Edwards in particular, I thought he did a great job getting around screens. I thought that he did a great job of being more physical with Jamal Murray, which is what he did throughout the course of this series. If you're a box score watcher, and you saw that Jamal Murray, I think he had 31 points or some 34 points. If you're a box score watcher, you'd be like, yo, he went to work. But if you actually watched the game yesterday and you saw that Anthony Edwards shut the door on him in the second half, and how did he shut the door on him? Hands got busier. He got more physical. In the drop coverage, he was actually closing out quicker. Jamal Murray is one of the toughest tough shot makers. He's one of the best tough shot makers in the game. With that being said, he was giving Jamal Murray different looks. He was either on his hip and Rudy was chasing him off, or not just Rudy, Cat was chasing him off, which Jamal Murray, to his detriment, by the way, was trying to get wide. That didn't work with Anthony Edwards. And the reason why it didn't work with Anthony Edwards, because it gave him time to recover, gave him time to get back, gave him time to stay engaged with Jamal Murray. With him doing that, he was not let off the hook. And I thought he did a great job of keeping his hands busy. So whenever that screen was coming, he ripped them a couple of times, getting out in the open floor. Minnesota's defense is what dictated their offense. That's what actually got their offense going when they were able to get runouts. For example, Anthony Edwards, when Anthony Edwards picks Jamal Murray in the open floor, that speeds the game up. When Mike Conley picks Jamal Murray in the open floor, that speeds the game up. Not only does it speed the game up, that gets our offense going. Minnesota's offense this season has not been good. Not only has their offense not been good, their transition, not only has their half-court offense not been good, their transition offense hasn't been good. I was a big advocate of them being better in transition. I think they were below average. I think they were 16 or 17 in the league in transition offense. I thought that they should have been getting more action in transition. One, considering the athletes that they have in Jaden McDaniels and Anthony Edwards, how Cat runs the floor, how Alexander Walker runs the floor, how Naz Reid runs the floor. I thought that they would get. I thought that they would get more action with Mike Conley being the head of that attack. I thought that they would get more action. Problem was, guys were running to the long ball line instead of just getting to the rim. They did the same thing last year with D'Angelo Russell. Last night and throughout this series, they actually did something the complete opposite, where they were getting steals, where they got turnovers. In the process of them getting turnovers, they were getting to the basket and putting a lot of pressure on Denver at the basket. Dallas and Phoenix showed you the blueprint of how to beat Denver. They showed you the blueprint on what to do against Denver. And what that was you got to jump Joker on the glass. You have to. Jump Joker on the glass. If you jump Joker, the rest of those guys won't fall in line. Aaron Gordon should be a much better rebounder than he is. He actually is. He reminds me a lot of how I felt about Stoudemire back during the 7 seconds or less offense. That's what he reminds me of. Because when I watch Aaron Gordon, I'm thinking to myself, he should be a double-digit rebounder. And don't tell me that because Joker rebounds the way he does, he can't be a double-digit rebounder. Because I watched DeAndre Jordan rebound like that, and I watched Blake Griffin be a double-digit rebounder. So there's no way that he can't be a double-digit rebounder. 100% he can be a double-digit rebounder. So Dallas and Phoenix showed you the blueprint. We're going to jump Joker on the glass, and we're going to keep Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. away from the glass. We're going to jump him on the offensive glass and the defensive glass and put a lot of pressure on him to be the sole rebounder. And Minnesota did that with their gang rebounder. Mike Conley had almost 10 rebounds yesterday. Mike Conley's ability to stick his nose in there when the ball is coming in the mid-range, when the ball is coming in the mid-post, not just in the mid-post, Mike Conley's ability to dig when the ball is getting rebounded, whether it's an offensive rebound from one of those guys, he's digging in there and getting turnovers. Or he's also sticking his nose in there, getting long rebounds. That's a big deal when you're trying to limit a team like Denver in terms of possessions. That's a huge deal when you're trying to slow them down. If you're able to do that, you got a really good shot at beating them. And I felt like Minnesota did a great job on the glass yesterday. Well, what was the difference in this game? I felt like the difference in this game was the third quarter. The way that they came out in the third quarter, how Ant was chasing Jamal Murray off those screens, how he stayed engaged, how he stayed on his hip, and how they completely took Michael Porter Jr. out of the game, who I thought they could neutralize him with Jaden McDaniels, with slow-mo, which I really wasn't a big-time slow-mo fan, to be honest with you, because I'm thinking about slow-mo in the aspect that slow-mo, as methodical and as quote-unquote slow as his game is, it can be effective. But I just didn't think that it would be in this series. I didn't. Off the strength of, one, how fast Denver plays, two, how big they are, and how much of a mismatch nightmare Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and KCP are because of how fast they play. I thought that he could potentially be obsolete in this series. He gave them some good minutes, though. I can't say enough about Naz Reid. I really can't. I can't say enough about Naz Reid in the rotation player that he is. Now, some people will look at Naz Reid and go, well, it ain't that hard to come off the bench when you're playing against second unit guys. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because my job isn't as simple as you may think as a rotation guy. My job isn't just to come in the game and keep us afloat. No, we might be losing. And now I got to give us a spark. We might have trouble with a mismatch. And now I have to take that mismatch on. And Naz Reid did that. He was able to knock down some open shots. In the process of him knocking down open shots, he was able to get switches on the Joker, which Minnesota, for all intents and purposes, as a unit, I felt like they did a damn good job on Joker. If you read the box score, of course, you're going to see that Joker went, 34 and 19. You're going to be like, damn, he went to work. He only had 3 rebounds in the second half. That 4th rebound he got the game was basically in tow. They already had the game wrapped up. He only had 3 rebounds in the second half. And the scheme that they had on Joker last night, when they had Cat covering him, they were going to jump him. Soon as he catches the ball on that wing, whether it's the right wing, whether it's the left wing, if it's at the top, not so much. But if it's on the wing, they're going to jump him. And they did that effectively. And with their rotations, with Reggie Jackson diving to the basket, because this is the kind of looks that Joker, these are the kind of looks that Joker is looking for. He's looking for Reggie Jackson to dive to the rim or fade or flare screen. Not necessarily a flare screen. Let me take that back. Or dive to the rim or flare to the corner. He's looking for that. When Reggie Jackson gets a back screen, Reggie Jackson gets a flare screen. He's looking for Reggie Jackson on that. He's looking for Jamal Murray on the slip. He's looking for Aaron Gordon on the slip. He's looking for Aaron Gordon on the backside with the lob. He's looking for Michael Porter Jr. also on a flare screen or a back screen. He's looking for them. But the rotations was so good that I felt like the communication between Minnesota last night was great. And the reason why it was great is because this is their staple. This is who they are. You can't be a great defense and you're not talking. One of my buddies said to me, and he told me Chris Paul's words were basically his words. He said, I can tell what the best teams are when I walk in the gym and what I'm listening to. If I don't hear much, that team's not very good. If I hear a lot of talking, that's a good team over there. And this Minnesota team, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, Mike Conley, you can see those guys talking to each other. You can hear those guys talking to each other. You can hear Anthony Edwards telling Alexander Walker, yo, talk to me. I can't see the shot clock. Alexander Walker talking to Anthony Edwards, hey, that back screen, do you want to switch? Or do you want to stay? Do you want to switch high or do you want to stay? How do you want to work that out? Whether it's if the shot clock is getting late or if we early in the shot clock, how do you want to work that out? That's communication between good defensive teams as opposed to just letting guys do whatever they want to do. No. Minnesota did a great job in rotations. When Michael Porter Jr., when he was operating on a flare screen, he was fading to the corner, and Alexander Walker would dive straight across the floor to close out on him. Or Jaden McDaniels would close out on him with the right hand, by the way, which is the left hand, because Michael Porter Jr. is a right-handed shooter, with the left hand and not overrun him, right? Not overrun him, which I see a lot of guys in the NBA doing this, where they end up overrunning. They'll end up overrunning screen. I mean, they'll end up overrunning closeouts and giving guys an avenue to the rim or giving guys an avenue to the mid-range. That's a recipe for disaster. But Minnesota was very precise in what they were doing last night. Very precise in what they were doing last night. Whenever Joker had the ball on the wing, if Cat wasn't covering him and Naz Reid was covering him, the help wasn't that far away. Mike Conley was right there. Jaden McDaniels was right there. There was nobody that was too far away where we couldn't get to you immediately. Now, I thought that they did Rudy a little bit of a disservice because they would run plays like on the left side of the floor. I watched in the third quarter where they would run plays on the left side of the floor, and they would basically clean the whole left side of the floor out, and Rudy is stuck with Joker. Now, I'm not saying that Rudy can't handle himself one-on-one because we've seen him handle himself one-on-one more than once, more than twice. I've seen him handle himself one-on-one. But I felt like last night that had to be a team effort. Had to be a team effort. Rudy did a great job in getting on the backboard. Not only did he do a good job in getting on the backboard, we talked about this earlier today. Points, when you get to this stage of the season, points are at a premium. So you got to get them how you get them. You got to get them the best way you can. So when Rudy's diving to the basket and he's got Michael Porter Jr. on him, and he gets and he squares up and he gets big, where now Michael Porter Jr. is basically stuck behind him underneath the basket, and he's got a foul. When you pick up early fouls in the quarter, you put Denver in a real bind. Why? Because with 9 minutes left in the quarter, or 3 minutes into the quarter, we in a bonus. Now what that does is that allows us to be way more aggressive. That allows us to be way more aggressive going to the rim because you don't want to foul. Not only do you not want to foul, you can't afford to foul because you've already picked up early fouls. So you can't afford to foul anymore. That allows us to get to the rim and be more aggressive. I feel like this Minnesota team, how they're built, I feel like this is the recipe for winning. Just like the Boston Celtics. I said to you guys in the beginning, man, show me a team that doesn't defend and rebound, and I'll show you a team that's not going to win. I will show you a team that will not win. If you go down the line of the previous champions, and I don't just mean over the last 4 or 5 years. I'm talking 40 years back. I talked about this earlier today. The Philadelphia 76ers in '83. Bobby Jones was an all-league defender. Mo Cheeks was an all-league defender. Moses Malone was an all-league defender and a glass cleaner. In addition to us rebounding, that's how we get stops. We have to rebound the basketball. We have to rebound the basketball. If we don't, we're not going to win. And a team like Denver, when you're giving them second, third chance opportunities, there's no way that you're going to win because they're not going to continuously let you off the hook. So you got to get stops. Minnesota did a great job last night in getting stops. And I felt like Anthony Edwards took advantage of mismatches. Took advantage of mismatches when they hunted Aaron Gordon, who Aaron Gordon's a damn good defender on the perimeter. He was making big shots, and their defense really turned up. I thought Cat did a great job in, well, first of all, their action with them getting mismatches. So getting Jamal Murray on Cat, I thought that was great for Minnesota. And the fact that they took advantage of that. The fact that they took advantage of that and were able to exploit that mismatch, I thought that was great. And Cat did not let Jamal Murray off the hook. Did not let him off the hook with a long ball. Did not let him off the hook with something soft. He didn't. He had Jamal Murray on him, backed him down, bucket. Square up in the mid post, go right at his chest. He's too small. He can't cover you. He cannot cover you. Don't let him off the hook. So they had to stop doing that. They couldn't keep switching. When you're doing stuff like that, that puts the other team in so much of a bind. So much of a bind. I felt like last night, that was the Western Conference Championship. I think they served Dallas. I don't think they beat Dallas. I think they served them. Because I feel like Dallas hasn't seen anything like this defensively. I think Dallas is going to be surprised at how good Minnesota is in terms of how they fly around, how they cover mismatches, how they recover from mistakes. Because Dallas isn't one of those teams that, you know, I had a bit of a power surge. I'm sorry. And where were we? We were talking about, I'm sorry, we were talking about Minnesota. That's what we were talking about. We're talking about Minnesota and how Dallas hasn't seen anything like this defensively, which I can't say with 100% certainty that they can recover from that. So Minnesota does a great job in recovering. Minnesota does a great job in closing out. Minnesota does a great job in rebounding. Minnesota also does a great job in you as a defender. I feel like Minnesota does a fantastic job in exploiting you. as an offensive player. Whatever you don't like to do, whatever you're not good at, whatever you are not good at, Minnesota is going to attack that. They're going to exploit that. Well, Luka, I think he's the best scorer in the game. I don't think that there's a guy in the game who is better than Luka. There isn't a guy that makes it look easier than Luka does. Joker makes it look easy. I won't argue that. There are plenty of guys that make it look simple. But I don't think that there's a guy that makes it, especially when he's got it going. There isn't a guy that I think that makes it look easier than Luka does. Nobody in the game. So because of that, he's going to be a handful. So how do you attack Luka? Well, the way you attack Luka, one, you stay on his strong hand. If you stay on his strong hand and make him use his weak hand, not just use his weak hand, you can be physical with Luka. Be physical with Luka and make Luka turn his head to the officials. That kind of takes him out of what he's been doing. I feel like those other guys, Derrick Jones Jr., put those guys on the defense. And how do you put those guys on the defense? We got to speed the game up. And we're going to speed the game up with our defense. Put Kyrie Irving on the defense. Kyrie Irving has actually done a really good job this postseason. A damn good job. He's done a damn good job this postseason at effort. Because I feel like that's what playing defense has been about. I feel like that's always been what defense has been about. It's been about effort. And I feel like Irv puts that effort in. And with Irv putting in that effort, that makes him even more viable as a defender. I don't think that you can completely take Luka out of the game, but I do think that you can soften him up. I do think that. Derek Lively, I feel like the stage is going to be huge. And that's not to say that he won't be prepared, because I do think that he'll be prepared, just like Daniel Gafford. I do think that these guys will be prepared, but I think that this is the end of the line for these guys. I feel like these guys in particular, that front line having to deal with Cat, having to deal with Rudy, and I feel like Rudy can get a lot of easy buckets in this series. Unlike against Denver, I feel like him diving to the basket, him being open at the rim, I feel like he could get a lot. I feel like the buckets that he can get will be a lot less difficult than they were against Denver. And I got them handling Dallas. I got them handling Dallas in 5 games. I don't think this series goes past 5 games. I don't. Strictly off the strength that Minnesota's staple is going to be too much for Dallas. I feel like Dallas's other guys, I feel like you could take them out of the series. I don't think you could take them out of games. I feel like you could take Tim Hardaway Jr. out the series. I feel like you could take Exum out of the series. I don't think that you could take him out of a game. You can make it so he's unplayable. One of the main staples, one of the main reasons why, Kenny. One of the main reasons why Minnesota was able to do what they did was because Denver made a conscious effort, right? Denver made a conscious effort to leave Jaden McDaniels open. They didn't do that just last night in Game 7. They did that throughout the series. He just so happened to start making shots in the last 2-3 games consistently. He was making shots, but he started making shots more in the last 2-3 games on a consistent basis. And that helped. That absolutely helped. So when you now have Jaden McDaniels making shots, that has Dallas's defense scrambled all over the place. So you can't just leave one guy open. So now what that means that's more one-on-one action for Anthony Edwards. That's more one-on-one action for Cat. That's more one-on-one, not just one-on-one action. That's more opportunity for Mike Conley, one, to control the offense, Two, to get other guys in positions where they need to get to and creating and hunting mismatches, because you can't leave Jaden McDaniels open. You can't do that with him. And I think that Minnesota is not going to make the same mistake that the Clippers and Oklahoma City made, which was make PJ Washington make shots. Hell no, we ain't doing that. We tried that last series with Aaron Gordon, and we saw how that went. We almost lost. So we're not doing that with any of these guys. No, we're trying to shut the door on all of you. We're trying to shut the door on every last one of you. PJ Washington, if you're going to make shots, you're going to make shots with somebody draped on you. I know you want to run to that left corner, and that's your spot over there. Well, I'll tell you what, when you shoot the basketball, you're going to have somebody draped on you. Completely draped on you. I think that with the Indiana Pacers getting right back to it, I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Boston tomorrow night. That would not surprise me. Boston hasn't played in a week. Tomorrow would be, what, almost 8 days that they were off? Yeah, they were able to get healed up, and I feel like that helps Porzingis. Oh, 100%, I feel like that helps him. But with that being said, that rust settles in. That rust 100% settles in. And Indiana's going to be flying around. With them flying around, they're going to be more active. Boston has basically been practicing against themselves for the last week. I mean, they dropped Cleveland last Wednesday. We haven't played in over a week. And you get sick of practicing against each other. You do. That's why that Denver Minnesota series lasted as long as it did. After they beat them in game 2 on Monday, we didn't play again until Friday. If game 3 was on Wednesday, that series would have been over. That series would have been over. Done. Why? Because who would you rather fight? Would you rather fight somebody who's been sitting around waiting to fight? Or would you rather fight somebody who just got finished whooping somebody's ass? I can tell you who I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight that dude. Because he looking at me like, I'll whoop your ass too right now. Right now. I just got finished whooping him. I'll whoop your ass right now. So I feel like this Boston Celtic team, your staple is the long ball. Indiana has actually defended in these playoffs. And they've had some fortune. Sure they have. They've had some fortune. They've had some things go their way. And it's worked. I don't think they are where they are if Giannis was healthy. I don't think they are where they are if Damian Lillard stayed healthy. No, I don't. But I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. And the reason why I'm not doing that, because that's part of the game. It is not what you're not going to do. You are not going to fault me. You are not going to hold it against me because you can't hold up. That's a you problem, not a me problem. No, I was able to hold up. You weren't. That's a you problem. And I'm not going to hold it. I'm not going to hold that against Indiana. The fact that Giannis wasn't healthy. The fact that the Knicks were beat up. Hey, would I have liked to have seen the Knicks healthier? Yes, I would have loved to have seen the Knicks healthier. Would I have loved to have seen the Milwaukee Bucks healthy? I would have loved to have seen Giannis healthy. I would have loved to have seen Dame healthy. Them dudes couldn't hold up. They couldn't. So because they couldn't hold up, see you later. Goodbye. And since we're on the subject of holding up, I asked this question earlier, and I asked this to you guys. If we had Giannis, Joker, let's see, Jason Tatum, Luka, KD, if we had Anthony Davis lose 3 of his 5 starters, plus his best rotation man, and he took that unit and threw him on his back and took him to the Western Conference semifinals, how we talking about Anthony Davis? I can tell you how we're not talking about him. We ain't talking about him like we talk about Brunson. And the issue that I have with Brunson is that this is not a fluke. This is not something that he just did this one time. We have a track record of this. We have evidence of him doing this years now, not one year, into the playoffs, deep into the playoffs, and performing at a high level. We got evidence of that. So because we got evidence of him doing that, we ain't talking about him like we would be talking about if Giannis loses Middleton, he loses Brook Lopez, he loses Beasley, and he loses Bobby Portis. And he took that Milwaukee team, threw him on his back, and got them to Game 7 of the East semifinals. How we talking about Giannis? We damn sure ain't talking about him like we talk about Brunson. We damn sure not talking about him like that. Giannis the best player on the planet. If Joker loses Aaron Gordon, let's see, Joker loses Aaron Gordon, he loses MPJ, he doesn't lose Jamal, he loses KCP too. He loses Aaron Gordon, MPJ, KCP, and he loses Christian Brown. And he took that Denver unit, throws them on his back, and takes them to the West semifinals, Game 7. Because basically that crew is being held together with glue and tape, which is what was going on with the Knicks. That crew is being held together with glue and tape. If he took that crew, that Denver crew, to the West semifinals, how we talking about Joker? Is he the best player on the planet? Probably. We ain't talking about Jalen Brunson like that, who, by the way, has a track record of doing this. If Jason Tatum loses Jaylen Brown, in addition to losing Jaylen Brown, he loses Porzingis. He loses Porzingis, Jaylen Brown, and Derek White. And he also loses Pritchard. And he takes that unit and throws him on his back and takes them to the East semifinals. Yep, to the East semifinals in Game 7. How we talking about Jason Tatum? We're not talking about him like we talk about Jalen Brunson. And the question that I have is why? Jalen Brunson has a track record of performing well, raising his game in the playoffs. We have years of evidence to show that. If this is, and I asked this question earlier today, if this is September the 20th, training camp opens up, today is Monday, training camp opens up next Tuesday. Where is Jalen Brunson in the pantheon of great players in the league? Where is he ranked? If you have him anywhere between 9 and 12, I take no issue with that. And the reason why I don't take issue with that is because we have evidence. This isn't a fluke, which is why I have a difficult time with the Anthony Edwards Michael Jordan comparison. What kind of track record does Anthony Edwards have to have that kind of comparison? Not only what kind of track record does he have? Were you talking about Anthony Edwards like this 3 months ago? Did you have this kind of energy? Did you feel like this about Anthony Edwards? Did you feel like this about Anthony Edwards 3 months ago? We're in May right now. Did you feel like this about him in February? That he was Jordan-like? Did you think that he was MJ-like? I don't know if I'm gonna go that far, because I can be honest with you. I am in the Discord. My ears to the ground with basketball people, and there weren't people who were talking about him and Jordan in the same breath. No. Which, by the way, I think is fantastic. And the reason why I think it's great is because remember that whole campaign about Be Done with the 90s, which was basically a t-shirt, right? It was a movie of the week. Remember that? So the whole We Done with the 90s campaign, meanwhile, you're comparing Anthony Edwards to Jordan. So I guess we ain't done with the 90s, are we? Nah. Guess we ain't done with the 80s neither, because Jordan was playing in the 80s. So I guess we not, huh? I guess the 90s are still alive and well, huh? And since we're on the subject of since we're on the subject of the 80s and 90s, I think that this decade of basketball, Because, by the way, with Denver losing last night, two things. Number one, that's the 5th time this season that Minnesota has held Denver under 100 points. These are how many times Denver has beaten Minnesota when they've done that. These many right here. Yep. These many right here are how many times they've beaten Minnesota when they've held them under 100 points. That's number one. Number two, I feel like this decade of basketball with Minnesota bouncing Denver last night, we're going to see the 5th different champion in this decade. So the days of the days of the quote unquote super teams, I don't think we're going to see that in this decade. I don't think that we're going to see a team run off 3 or 4 straight. I felt like Denver could do that. I felt like they could do that. But they were the only ones that I thought could do it. I don't see any other team. I see some of the most parity in the league that I've seen since I was a kid. Some of the most parity. Now the question that I need to ask is that good for the league? Reason why I'm asking you that is the league is the most popular when we have the Lakers running off championships, the Celtics running off championships, the Bulls, the Miami Heat, when we have back-to-back champions. I don't know if you guys remember this, but the year the Lakers won the NBA championship in the 86-87 season, for a decade, from 1986-87, for 11 seasons. I just want to make sure that we're clear on this, guys. 1986-87 to 1997-98. That's 11 seasons. We had a back-to-back champion every year. Every year we had a back-to-back champion. So, with that being said, we don't have any back-to-back champion, and half the decade is almost over. Half the decade is almost over. We haven't seen that yet. I don't think we're going to see it. So is this good for the league in terms of parity? I personally think it's great, to be honest with you. I think it's fantastic. One, I feel like with this parity, we get to see a bunch of different players emerge. The downside to seeing these great players emerge, we also get to overrate them because we get to hear stuff like Anthony Edwards is the next Michael Jordan. Like, can we chill out? Like I had a guy tell me earlier today, I had a dude tell me earlier today that Anthony Edwards is reminiscent of 2001 Kobe Bryant. Yo, chill out, yo. Let's relax, okay? Relax. Calm down, okay? I'm not saying not to marvel at Anthony Edwards, but yo, calm down. We're not doing that. No, we are not doing that. In order for you to be one in that pantheon, you have to develop a track record of consistently balling in the playoffs, of consistently doing work in the playoffs, in the postseason, and in the regular season. This is what I tell you this is what I mean when I tell you that the regular season matters. Because that's where the legend is created. That's where the legend is created. And in the postseason, that's where the legend is elevated. That's where he's elevated at. So I don't personally think that we're going to see the Golden State Warriors or the Miami Heat, the Lakers, the San Antonio Spurs. I don't think we're going to see that. I don't. If I'm wrong, I'll come back in here and say that. But I feel like this generation or this decade from 2020 to 2030, I feel like there's going to be as much parity as it's been 50 years ago in the 70s. 50 years ago in the 70s. So I think it's great. But I do want to hear from you guys. I do. I want to hear from you guys and what you saw yesterday. Where do you think We're down to 4, right? We're down to 4. That's where we are. New York City, Rob. Are you serious right now? Chilltown. Look at this right here. And this Knicks fans are just as bad as Golden State Warrior fans. Just so you guys know. Chilltown, stop it, bro. All season long, you were glazing the Cavs, and look at them now. Knicks went way further. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They both got bounced in the semifinals. What are you talking about? No, they did not. Because the Knicks played, what, 2 more games? Give me a break. No, they did not. Absolutely not. So, yeah, I want to hear from you guys. What did you see? Is there do you see any? Do you think parity is good? Do you think what's going on right now is a good thing? How do you feel about these playoffs? What up, Tex?
My brother. What's going on? Salute, man.
What up?
It's rare for me to get you on your channel, man. So I appreciate you for having me on, brother. It was dope. Game 7 that we got to see. We're officially smoking that Knicks pack. Tom Thibodeau, you're out of here. We're out of here.
Pass that. Please pass that.
We're on our way to Boston, Massachusetts, right?
Yes, we are.
Now let's get into that real quick.
Before we get into that, though,
okay,
Tex.
Okay,
Before we get into that, okay?
Talk to me.
I want you to make sure you understand why what happened yesterday happened. Okay, there are no plumbers within the vicinity.
Okay.
There are none. I'm looking in the phone book. I'm on the internet. I can't find a plumber for hours. And my water needs to get turned back on.
All you hear is that clicking noise.
I turn on the sink, click. Where is the water? I'm trying to get a plumber on the line. Right. The closest one is an hour away. I don't have an hour.
Right. This is happening right now.
I don't have an hour, brother. I don't.
It's insane.
I don't have somebody that's like 15 minutes away that can come over right now.
So to answer the question, is parity good for the league? Yes, in this era, yes, it is for right now, currently, right? Obviously, with the turnover of the 2010, right, with Steph being long in the tooth, KD being long in the tooth, LeBron being long in the tooth, Kawhi being long, Jimmy, all these guys in the 2010s. Eventually, the NBA needs to retool and find a new crop to latch onto, right? I feel
like they're doing that
with
too.
parity, right? I think that's what adds to the lore of it. Now you can weave in so many quote unquote narratives, but I feel they are story builders, right? Mm-hmm. You kind of can plant a story here in Minnesota. You could plant a story in Boston. You can plant a story in Orlando. You can plant a story in San Antonio. You could plant here. So now, and then what you do is you're planting seeds and seeing what blooms out of it, right? And with the parity in the league, what you're able to do is to tap into many different markets. You can even invest into small markets. Again, like the San Antonios, the Minnesotas, the Indianas, the Clevelands, right? So you're able to kind of maximize the exposure and not focus on one player because or one team. What tends to happen is that when you focus on one team, it kind of takes away from the regular season, right? Which is what you want to drive revenue towards, eyes, views, things of that nature. Especially with TNT losing that deal and NBC picking up on that deal, you want to readjust and kind of build those storylines like it used to be on NBC. It used to be a lot of storylines and quote unquote narratives, things of that nature. So I think
Pistons,
yes,
Bulls, stuff like that. Lakers, Trailblazers. Yeah, I can get with that.
They might have to bring back Ahmad Rashad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Marlon in the 2-2, but we might have to go get him. We might have to go get him.
I have a question real quick. With just a quick question. You being familiar with Shaq, how do you think he moves forward with the TNT deal? Do you think he just ends up going over to a different thing to do basketball take, or do you think he kind of goes the independent route? Like, what do you? Obviously, I'm pretty sure that you guys are having a conversation about it, but like, what's your thoughts about it in terms of how he should maneuver with the TNT thing?
To be honest with you, Tex, I think where we are right now, this is the wave of the future. This is where I feel like this is in 10 years, ESPN and TNT and stuff. This is where we're going to be. I feel like this is where it's going. I feel like this is where it is right now in terms of TNT, but I feel like podcasts and the internet, I feel like that's where we're going to get the most information.
100%.
So because of that, I don't think that it's going to be. First of all, he can't move to ESPN. Like
Right.
him, Charles, and Kenny. That doesn't work for
Right.
Stephen A. That doesn't.
Right.
It's like it's like 3 running backs getting on a crew with Derrick Henry. No, that's Derrick
Right.
no, can't do that. I mean,
Right.
that's his run. So
Right.
I feel like where we are now, I feel like this is the future.
Mm.
And I feel like where we are now, this is what it's going to be. I know that with where ESPN is, I know that where TNT is. I mean, this isn't a deal that's going to happen like tomorrow, but
Right.
I mean, ultimately, they have to figure out something. I mean, Inside the NBA wasn't a good show. It was the best show on TV.
100%.
You don't just get rid of that.
Right.
We got to figure out something right now. But in the meantime, they're still going to be there. But I still feel like where we are right now, this is the wave of the future.
It's gonna and to be fair, I agree 100%. Obviously, I think with the internet is gonna provide them the opportunity to update quicker, right?
Mhm.
With your standard landline shows, quote unquote, like the Turner Sports and things of that nature. They're playing catch up all the time. If you notice, they're taking a lot of clips from internet, like what I mean. They're looking at Players Choice. They're looking at your channel. They're looking at
biting my style. Don't say you ain't biting my style. I hear what you saying. I hear y'all. I do hear y'all dudes, and I heard that somewhere else. When I hear LeBron James say that Chet has unlocked Oklahoma City, damn, I heard that somewhere before. I'm not losing my mind, but damn, I heard that somewhere before.
Right. So with that being said, I mean, obviously with the internet, and if they choose to go that route, if Inside the NBA decides to go that route, it even further improves, because now they're going to be able to tap into the youth and get that instant feedback that allows them to adjust right on the spot. Now we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of everything. Yesterday, Indiana was able to control the pace. They were able. I mean, they shot amazing, right? They shot amazing. There's
Tex, who you beating? That's shooting 76% from the long ball line. Who you beating?
Right, 100%. So this goes back to our original conversation on Chill with Chill. You laughed at me. You laughed and scoffed at me when I said that Tyrese Halliburton, his floor is, listen, just hear me out real quick. His floor is Dallas Mavericks Steve Nash.
I thought you was wild as hell when you said that. I was like,
here's what I say. The reason why I say that is the same thing. Damo alluded to it as well. Is keeping the engine running, right? Providing offense for the team first, and then yourself second. And I think that's where and I remember you said, well, if Steve Nash is the floor, what is the ceiling? And I said, Jason Kidd. Remember I said Jason Kidd.
You did say that. Yes, you did.
Because I said, in my opinion, he is better with less shots that he needs to take. When he's disseminating the offense and allowing everybody else to eat, we see what's happening. The offense is humming. Now, it takes those guys to hit their shots, right? But he's creating that pace. He's creating that tempo. He's creating that heartbeat for everybody to get easier shots. And when he does, and like I said, when he does get better and get stronger to increase his half-court shot creation, we're going to see another level unlocked. But I still stand by the statement that I said, that his floor is Dallas Steve Nash. Now, to go to the Boston Celtics, this is an opportunity for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to take advantage of the mismatches that they're going to have. Pascal Siakam shouldn't have anything for Jason Tatum. He should not have anything for Jason Tatum. He's a rangy defender. However, Jason Tatum is bigger, stronger, faster, more skilled. This should be easily 30 points on his neck, on his head top. That's without saying. In my
opinion,
especially
how fast Indiana plays.
Right, exactly. But here's the thing, though, Chill, and I would like to ask you a question before we get to the other side, is do you think Indiana can cause the Celtics to self-sabotage with the pace of play, especially shooting that 3 ball?
No, because if you're getting me to self-sabotage, you're getting me to do something that I do great to work against me. No. So if you play fast, you're not going to make me not play fast. Like, this is the way I play anyway. Now, I'm not going to play fast. There's different levels of playing fast. I'm not going to be out of control playing fast like you do, where you just want to run. No, I'm going to run, and I'm going to pick spots when I run. I'm going to speed the game up. I'm going to pick spots when I speed the game up. I'm going to shoot the long ball. I'm just going to pick spots when and where I shoot the long ball. And I'm not just going to have that predicate everything with me. I am going to get to the rim. I am going to defend, but I am going to shoot the long ball, and you're not going to make me shoot it the way you want me to shoot it, because that's basically taking me out of what I want to do. And I don't think that Boston, I don't think Indiana is smart enough to do that. I think Rick Carlisle is going to do everything he can to try to take Boston out of what they do. He does not want to enhance what they do. So he doesn't want to speed the game up and get into a long ball shooting contest with the Boston Celtics. You don't have the personnel to do that. You don't.
Right. So, I think what they will do. Apologize, I didn't want to cut you off, my man. I just wanted to say that the thing is, I feel like the crutch of the Celtics is the bench compared to Indiana versus the strength which Indiana has on its side. I think TJ can turn the tide, especially when they turn into that second unit, compared to having Hauser come off the bench, having Pritchard. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Pritchard, very good, but I feel more confident in TJ coming off the bench. And I'm very, very scared of how Al Horford has to deal with Miles Turner. Now, Miles Turner having the ability to pick and pop, being able to spread the floor out, is going to cause a lot of open lanes and a lot of open gaps that the Indiana Pacers can take advantage of. However, the strong suit that you guys do have is perimeter defending. You have Drew, you have Derek White, you have Jason Tatum, you have Jaylen Brown. It is your duty to keep these guys in front of you. If you guys do not allow them to keep them in front of you, and Miles Turner have his field day, Al Horford is going to retire by the end of this series. They are going to run Al Horford dry. You know what I mean? So yeah, go ahead.
Now, to your point, I don't love that matchup if it's just one-on-one, but this is why you have other guys. Like, that's why Milwaukee wasn't what they could have been, because they didn't have anybody to protect Damian Lillard. Well, the Boston Celtics actually have guys to protect Al Horford. So if we get into a running gun, if we get up and down, the old man got some miles on him, but he still can get up and down the floor. And we do have serviceable bigs. Cornette is serviceable. I'm not saying that he's.
I need a letter grade because I need to know what do you consider serviceable. I need a letter grade.
Serviceable for me is a B-.
Wow,
you're
giving a B-? I give him a C+. I'll give him a C+.
So 78, 81 on the test. Okay,
right. Okay.
Basically the same thing. But with that being said, I feel like Al can put him on the defense also. And to your point about TJ McConnell, we are going to settle the best backup lead guard in the game in the series. We're settling that.
It's settled already.
We're going to settle that.
I don't know if you got the message, Joe. I don't know if you got the message, but TJ McConnell put on a. Oh, you did it? Okay.
I did not, because I think Pritchard's the best backup lead guard in the game. I do.
Well, you're wrong. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna double down and finish this conversation after the series for sure.
That's what I'm talking about, Tex. When I say we're gonna settle that in this series, we are going to settle that. So
I'm with you.
Hey, Tex, good to talk to you, brother. You know what it's
my brother. And I got Wolves in 6. I'm with you 100%. I got Wolves in 6. It's gonna be a dope matchup, and we'll talk about it another time. But I definitely have the Wolves in 6. I don't want to hold you up. Appreciate you for having me on, my brother.
Absolutely, brother. You know where to find me. Out. What up?
What up, Joe? You hear me?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing it right, man. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, I just wanted to cover just two of the things that you were saying about the to be fair, the first one, the Minnesota Timberwolves Denver series.
Yeah.
I feel like I was correct. I did say, I came up on your show, I said that they would beat the Nuggets. You did say that they were going to beat them in 7. I did lose a little bit of confidence, and I lost a little bit of confidence in game 7, I'll be honest with you. But when I saw that third quarter, there was a specific play that I remember in mind. There was, I think it was MPJ. He came off a pick and roll, and they just chased him. They just chased him off the ball. And MPJ, and one of the things that they made them do is they made those shooters pick up the ball and make decisions. One of the things that I don't like is when people talk about shot variance. Oh, they're just going to miss some shots. I need to know why they're going to miss some shots. And one of the reasons why KCP and Michael Porter Jr. did miss a lot of shots is because they chased them off the three-point line. And when they chased them off the three-point line, they made them decision makers, and they had to basically rush shots. And that's every time you have a game 7, you always end up taking shooters out of the game because shooters don't want to put the ball on the floor. And plus, I've been playing you for 5-6 games. I know exactly what you're trying to do. We're trying to get as open as possible, and I'm basically rushing you off the 3-point line, and I make a decision. I'm going to force you to the middle of the floor every single time. And that's basically what they did with MPJ. MPJ was struggling to get off the 3-point shot. He'd end up taking basically a contested mid-range shot, and it would just cause all types of problems for them. So
Mari, I don't subscribe to that logic that I was just missing shots. I hate that.
I don't agree with it.
Whenever I hear that makes me nuts. Like, so essentially what you're saying is that what I'm doing isn't really much. So the fact that I'm not, like, I've heard Bradley Beal say, really, you ain't really doing much with me. I'm just missing shots. That's just not true. You are not that lethal of a scorer that I can't slow you down, or I can't affect anything that you're doing. You could just do whatever you want against me. That's just not true.
But I get that as a
player. If you could, you would be doing this way more often, way longer, and you haven't. So no.
Oh, 100%. I get, but the thing is, I get that as a player. I get the mentality of, listen, I need to come into I can't think that this guy is going to stop me, because if I do, then I'm going to basically not play my game.
Sure.
But I think when we're watching it as fans, we have to look at it and think there's a reason why his shots are not getting off. Because if you're saying to me, because this is the crux, this is the flip side of it. If you're saying to me that you just missed shots because that was just how it went and the defense really had no effect on it, that means you choked. Wouldn't that be the case? If you're saying that what
that's
the other team
the case.
Yeah, if the other team is in, then you just choked. You're just not doing what you're supposed to do. And again, that I saw in the panel today when I tuned in a little bit, there was a kind of conversation about winning bias. Of course, there's winning bias. Anthony Edwards' game would have looked significantly worse if they lost. It's just the case, because I don't know what's happened to a lot of these fans nowadays. But winning matters. It matters a lot.
When did it not matter, Amari? I would love to know. Like, when did we stop caring about winning?
When your favorite player doesn't win. That's when winning doesn't matter. When your favorite
player. Wouldn't that be a bias?
Oh, of course, but everybody's biased. Anybody who says they're not biased is biased. It's a fallacy. Like, to say that having somebody play in a certain way and they win. I like to watch sports, and I like to watch players who affect the outcome. And even if you're playing badly, you don't play bad enough to affect my team losing. Like, that is how I like to watch the game.
Sure.
But covering off that point, going on to the next series, when it comes to Minnesota and Dallas is losing in 5, and they're going to have a lot of problems in that series. If Minnesota win one game on the road, it's over. I don't believe that Dallas have to beat Minnesota basically twice at home. I don't believe the way our defense is played. Luka was having issues with the way he was getting guarded in OKC by Lou Dort. If he's getting the way they're going to throw bodies at Luka, they're going to double him on every single play. They're going to they can chase off every one of his shooters. Where is the inside play coming from? There's nothing going to be getting from Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert had a hard time with Jokic because he's the best inside player in the league. I don't think that the two, the forward and the center for Dallas is going to give them much trouble. I am blanking on their names. Oh my gosh, I'm completely.
Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively.
David Lively's a rookie. And Gafford, there's not much. There's not going to be much they're going to be able to do with Rudy. And what you're going to do is you're going to send the double team with Anthony Edwards, and you're going to send it with Jaden McDaniels on Luka every single time. And you're going to basically just not allow him to play. And I believe that Kyrie Irving can be given problems by lengthy defenders. So you're going to have Jaden McDaniels also shadow on Kyrie Irving as much as possible. That series is not going long.
I don't know if blitzing. I don't know if blitzing Luka every play is a good idea. I don't know. That sounds like a recipe for disaster if we're going to blitz him, because Luka's a damn good passer. However, Amari, I will give you the benefit of the doubt, because Luka is slowed. He's still rocking, but he's slowed by injury, so that he's not as mobile. So that might be. So we can pick and choose when we can blitz him.
Yes.
As opposed to
blitzing.
Yes, if he was going, but I don't know if blitzing him every down. I don't know if that's a good idea.
Maybe that's just my hype for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know.
I do think they handle him in 5 games.
Oh yeah, definitely. They're going, because I don't think Dallas can deal with that. They just don't have the personnel. I mean, the fact that they have a backup big as well in Naz Reid come off the bench. He's been playing very well defensively, and I think people wasn't necessarily sure how well he's going to hold up defensively, but he's held up very well. And I think that now that they can rotate basically between Rudy, Carnthony, as long as Carnthony will stay in foul trouble. But however, what we've noticed about Naz Reid, the drop off from when he comes into the game versus Towns, I'm not saying that he's in the same caliber, but Nas Reed fills the void that Karl Anthony Towns leaves for a couple of minutes. Like
Yep.
he does a good job. And yeah, like I just think that that's going to be a good series. And I think when we get to the finals, I just want to make this point about the finals before I get to your parity point. That if they get to the final, I do think the Celtics probably will win the finals. And to be fair, this is the best time for them to do it because they can sneak a young team basically in that sense with their best player being young. I think Anthony Edwards in that game 7, he didn't really look ready for prime time, in my opinion. And I don't think he's necessarily going to be ready in the finals when he's going to play a team that's super experienced and has been there before and is hungry to get back there again. So I think this is the best time for the Celtics to win. They have the opportunity, and I think they're the best team remaining. And to your parity point, and this is actually what I wanted to cover the most because you were covering the talk about it the most. To your parity point, I think the parity from a consumer standpoint is brilliant. I think the fact that we don't have the same players from a hardcore fan base perspective is great. The problem with the parity situation, and I think it's becoming an issue, and I think they're going to lead it to change the play style. Because I think what's happening is you're starting to find that the key players, because of the faster pace now in the NBA, they're starting to get more hurt. And now they can't make it through the playoff runs because now you're seeing that basically every single star player outside of Jokic has been hurt for the last 4 or 5 years in some kind of capacity. And basically, I believe that the players can't keep up the pace that they're playing and the way that they play and how skilled they play and how athletic they are. It's unsustainable. So we're going to have to go to a model that's more defense oriented because you saw this in the 2000s when Michael Jordan left. When the defense got more stiff, obviously more players probably started to get injured, but also as well the NBA didn't like the style because they wanted to move away from it and they made the game a bit more pace and space orientated as they kind of progressed through the 2000s. They rejected the style. I think it's not the fact that NBA don't like this style. I think the casual fan base doesn't necessarily like the fact that players are getting injured. And that's the reason why they're allowing a little bit more physicality. Because when you actually are physical in basketball, you don't do stupid stuff. Like you don't see if you can jump off. You don't see if you can just run down the lane as fast as you can. You have to kind of think the game a bit more carefully.
Well, if you're a vet, I don't know because Kat has done a couple of bonehead things, but I mean, when you're a vet, you tend to be less. You tend to be more careful about the things that you do when you're a vet, as opposed to when you're 21, 22 years old. You think you can just leap tall buildings and all of that good stuff. But Mari, I got to keep it moving, brother. It's great to talk to you as always, my man. Great to talk to you. Absolutely. Great to talk to you. So, what up?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Number one, just check your DMs because I'm making bets with people and I trust your basketball knowledge. So just check your DMs on Instagram. Number one.
I'm sorry, Anna. I don't have an Instagram account, so you might have done that with somebody else.
Oh,
and they probably used my name, which I'm not a fan of that at all because I don't have an Instagram account. I'm on YouTube and I'm on TikTok. That's it.
I literally hate TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on any of that stuff.
Okay, so this is the only time I'm going to get you? Okay. So I would like your take on the Mavs versus the Wolves. And why?
I think the Minnesota Timberwolves beat them in 5 games. I think that defense that the Minnesota Timberwolves have, I feel like it can counter anything that Dallas is throwing at them on any level, whether it's on the offense, whether it's on the defensive end front line, whether it's on the perimeter with their wings, anything that Dallas has offensively, defensively, Minnesota can counter that. And then offensively, they're going to hunt Luka down. They're going to do everything that they can to get Luka in as much action. And as hobbled as he is, that's going to be a problem because he's so responsible for a lot of their offense. That's going to put more emphasis on Kyrie Irving to now get everybody else involved. And I don't think he's going to be able to do that at a consistent basis. This is a defense that they haven't seen. I think they handle the Dallas Mavericks in 5 games.
So the one issue that I might have is what we've seen throughout these series is how crucial the bench has been, like having depth, having length, having size. Do you think that, in my opinion, I love the Wolves, but I don't think that they have the depth that they might need to like go the distance? Do you think that they do compared to the Mavs?
I do. In fact, I think they have better depth than the Mavs. I feel like Nas Reed. I feel like Alexander Walker. I feel like Slow-Mo. I feel like those guys that they have coming in with their rotations, I feel like they're much better and they're more equipped to play that style of basketball. See, the difference with Dallas is Dallas has a tendency to try to make you play the way that they play.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Timberwolves, they make you play the way that they play. They don't get sucked into what you're doing. Our staple is defense. Our staple is creating offense with our defense. We're not that good of a one-on-one team. We do get a lot of action, but in terms of a one-on-one team, where our staple is our defense, and our offense has created a lot of that from our defense. We got good one-on-one players like Cat. We got good one-on-one players like Anthony Edwards, but mostly our defense is what our staple is, and our rotation guys are great defenders. Great defenders.
Okay, and this is I'm writing all of this down because I promise you I'm actually making bets with people, and I hope that they would be lucrative for me. And I know that you like Boston, and as do I. Not Boston necessarily, but I love Jason Tatum. If let's say the Wolves come out of this series, which we would all love to see,
Yep.
Wolves, and I understand Boston, they moonwalked like Michael Jackson to the finals. I understand. Who takes it in that scenario, Boston or Minnesota?
I think Boston wins in a 6-game dogfight. I think they win
6 games?
6-game dogfight. Yep.
What, can you just tell me why you think they would win?
I think that the experience of Boston and the fact that they've been back there so many different times.
Wait a minute, but the experience, can we at least agree that the Minnesota has proved that experience doesn't necessarily, I mean, it's not the end all be all. And in some cases, I mean, Denver, we're talking about a championship team. Experience in this situation for Minnesota is not even a variable. They proved that experience is not a variable.
Sure it is. And the reason why I feel like it is because I think you're looking at it from the aspect of Anthony Edwards being young. Mike Conley's been to the Western Conference Championship before when he was in Memphis. Rudy Gobert's been deep into the playoffs when he was in Utah. Cat's been in the league for 9 years. Cat didn't just show up this year. There's a lot of vets on this unit. So because these guys have been around for a long time, they know what it looks like. But I feel like going deep into the playoffs, like the Boston Celtics have gone deep into the playoffs, Drew Holiday is a championship point guard. Jason Tatum has been to the NBA Finals. This is his 5th trip to the East Finals in 7 years. Jaylen Brown, I think this is his 6th in 7 years. So these guys very much know what it looks like in terms of experience. And I feel like offensively, it's going to be a match. It's going to be a matching of wits because it's going to be the best defense against one of the best offenses in the game. I feel like Boston, in terms of their depth, I just think that they're better. And I feel like Jason Tatum, this is going to be a series where he can really show you got to dead the narrative about me. I am for real that dude. I am. So
yeah. Okay,
absolutely,
perfect.
Annika. Yep. Good to talk to you.
You too. And if I lose, I'm going to find you.
I ain't hard to find. So
okay, bye. Thanks.
Neff, what up, brother?
Oh, gee, what's good? What's good,
up, brother?
Man, this playoff's been exciting, bro. It's tough for me as a Bucks fan, obviously. My team.
I don't want to hear nothing from you. I'm not interested. I don't want to hear from you, Neff. Why not? You got arguably the best player on the planet on your team. That's number one. Number two, within the last decade, you've had a parade in your town. I don't want to hear a peep out of you. I don't. I'm not listening to you. I don't.
But, okay. Oh, gee, come on. Give me some slack. We signed the top 75 player all time on our team. We had a different coach. We had a different look. We had a different strategy. The cards didn't play out in our hand this year.
I think the window's still open for 2 more years. You got to shore up that wing defender.
I agree.
I feel like you got to upgrade at the 5 spot, but I don't think you're that far away.
No, I think we need to start developing Andre Jackson Jr. a little bit more. I know our development team is top notch because look at Giannis, and look at the draft. Yeah, and like Middleton, like the draft picks we picked over the past 10, 13 years have been really good. Except Thonmaker, that's tough. But anyway, bro, Indiana in the conference finals.
You know for a fact you guys are better than them. You know it.
I know.
If we're gonna be honest,
everyone knows it.
That's why it's tough for you. 1, being in the division. 2, watching them. This is what I mean when I say that being good isn't good enough. You need some stuff to go your way. You just do. You need to get lucky in a lot of instances. And Indiana, don't get me wrong, they're a good team, but they've had some things go their way. And I've actually had to entertain this conversation, and it's getting my blood pressure up to the idea that, do I have to start talking about the Indiana Pacers winning the NBA championship? Do I have to start doing that? Because I'm not prepared to do that.
No way.
I'm not prepared to do that. But it sounds like I have to start.
Man.
And I'm not prepared to do that. I'm not.
Me neither. I'm like, if they beat the Boston Celtics, the way we're talking about the pieces in their team with Halliburton, Miles Turner, Bennett. I wish Benedict was playing, but he's not. But they've been the healthiest team in the East, like hands down. Like Benedict hasn't played all playoffs, but everyone else have pretty much been playing. And all the other teams had major injuries. Obviously, Giannis, Dame in the middle of the series. With the Knicks, OG, Brunson broke his hand in the last game. Bogdanovich been out. It's they had a lucky series. Like, I would consider it a little bit similar to 2021 when the Bucks won. When we won our series.
That's the energy that I'm getting. That's absolutely the energy that I'm getting.
A little bit, but it's a little, it's a little bit different, but definitely sort of on that realm. So, but if they pass, if they beat the Boston Celtics, bro, we're talking Jaden Tatum on a super low level, and we're gonna bash him to.
I just don't. I really, to be honest with you, I don't want to have this conversation. I really don't. I just don't. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't. I don't want to have it. I don't.
I know. You, as a Jason Tatum fan, I'm pretty indifferent about him. I think he's a really good player. I do think he's top 10 in the league. But, I mean, he does get inconsistent sometimes. And if Tyrese and TJ McConnell and Miles Turner get it done against them, bro, even if they don't have KP, that's gonna be some interesting conversations, and I'm here for it. But
to be honest with you, I'm not. I'm not. That's all I gotta say. I'm not.
Chill. You gotta be.
I'm gonna have to be. And you're gonna see me. That doesn't mean I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be.
Okay.
That's all I gotta say about that. But
that's
good
fair.
to talk to
That's
you, man.
fair.
You know where to find me at, brother.
One last point.
Yep.
What do you think about the West Finals? Who do you think is coming on top?
I think the West Finals was yesterday. I think the Western Conference.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So so Wolves in how many games?
I think they handle Dallas in 5 games.
5. Okay. Yep. I think Kyrie's gonna get a game. I think Luke's gonna get a game. So I think Wolves in 6. Mm-hmm. But Wolves is my secondary team because I lived in Minnesota for 7 years. Yeah. And I love that place. So
I heard Minnesota is dope. I've been through there. I spent the night in Minnesota. I haven't actually excuse me, stayed in Minnesota for a while. I heard Minnesota is dope, yo.
It's dope, bro. It's like Twin Cities for a reason. It's St. Paul and Minnesota right next to each other. St. Paul is the capital of Minnesota, but Minneapolis is the bigger city.
I've been through there. I've never actually spent extensive time there, but I heard Minneapolis is dope.
It's fire. You heard Ant. Bring your ass.
Yeah,
bring your
up here.
Bring your ass.
Come on up here. So. All right, Neff, you know where to find me at, brother. What up?
Hello, can you hear me?
What up?
Chill. This is going to be like such an easy run for the C's to get to the finals. It's going to be pretty easy.
Hearing that easy run nonsense. These dudes ain't. The Indiana Pacers are not rolling over. I just want to make sure
they're not going to, but they're still going to lose in 5.
Even if they're going to lose in 5, it's going to be a dogfight. It's not just rolling these dudes out of here.
In perspective of the series, right? The series record will say it looked easy, but it won't be.
Right. Indiana's going to be tough to beat, yo. They're going to be really tough to beat.
My thing with Indiana is like Cleveland and Miami both have better defenses. Can we agree on that than Indiana?
Wait, what's the last part? Who has clearly
Cleveland and Miami. Can we agree they have better defenses than Indiana?
I do. Yes, we can definitely agree on.
Okay, cool. So around. If we're gonna say that, then and the Celtics managed to blow out both teams with a 3-point offense, how are we gonna expect Indiana, who's worse defensively than both teams I just mentioned, to slow down the C's 3-point offense? How are we going to expect that?
The only way for me to expect it is the fact that they've been off for almost 7 or 8 days. That's the only way for me to expect it.
They might get one game though. They might get one game.
Other than that, I don't really see this I don't see them being able to slow them down offensively. I don't see. No.
Chill, this is going to be a very difficult championship for them to win against Minnesota. That's like very, very difficult. Minnesota's best defense in the league against Celtics with the best offense in the league. I do think this goes 7 games. I think this goes 7 games. I don't think it goes 6. I think this goes 7.
I think it's a 6-game. You can have a 6-game dogfight. I watched that in '93 with the East Finals with the Knicks. You can have a 6-game dogfight. That could happen. And I feel like that's what it's going to be with Minnesota. If they get by Indiana and when Minnesota gets to the finals, I think this is going to be a 6-game. I'm talking about bar alley fight. That's what I think it's going to be.
Let me ask you a question, Chill. What if, and most likely this isn't going to happen, what if this ends up being a Dallas Maverick and Indiana Pacer finals? Who do you have winning if that ends up happening?
That's what I'm talking about, man. Like I have to have the conversation that Indiana could win the NBA championship. I am so not prepared to do that. I am not prepared to talk about Indiana winning the NBA championship. Like I got to go do homework. I got to go watch Indiana. I got to go watch old Indiana film. I've watched a couple of their games and I've seen how much better they've gotten defensively. But now I got to go actually dig deep into Indiana. And the idea that they can win the NBA championship, that doesn't even sound realistic to me right now. Like what?
Well, Chill. Like Tyrese Halliburton is awesome. He's an elite player. I mean, I don't think they'll get past C's, but
he doesn't defend on any level. He's a C defender,
which is crazy. He's 6'5".
He's a C defender at best. He's not a B or an A defender. He's a C defender at best. He's an elite distributor. He can score the basketball. But that team, who did show me something against a depleted Knicks team, because if that team with Julius Randle and Thomas Robinson and Bojan and OG Anunoby, if they're healthy, if Giannis is available, if Damian Lillard doesn't get banged up, Indiana's out. This was a play-in team last year. This is a fluke. This is not legit. They were a play-in team last year. This is not legit.
So you think about Indiana the same way you thought about Miami last season. This is a fluke.
Yes, it's a fluke.
So it's the same thing. So you feel the same exact way. Yeah. Okay, I understand. I don't think they will personally. I think they're going to get smoked out in 5 games. Indiana will. Dallas is different, though. Dallas, I think they could push Minnesota to 6 games. I think they can do that. What do you think?
I think because of Minnesota's defense, I think they handle them dudes in 5 games.
5 games? So they get smoked out in 5?
I think they handle them in 5 games. That's as far as I'm going with them.
Damn, you don't think...
That's as far as I'm going with them. 5 games.
Well, all right, Chill.
Yep.
You have a good one.
Know where to find me at, brother. What up?
What's up, Jay? How's everything? It's been a while.
What up?
Yesterday, that was crazy. 2 Game 7s. Which one stuck out to you most, you think?
The one that the team was down by 20 and came back and won? That one right there?
No, Minnesota's fighting. They have this spirit. I think they'll make the finals. But I think it'll be a fun series. But you're not shocked at the 67% that Indiana shot?
67, 76%.
67.
They shot 76% on the long ball. You ain't beating nobody.
No, it was 67 with 67% from the floor, and then
for the game.
Yeah, for the game.
In the first half, they shot 76% on the long ball.
Oh, yeah,
you ain't beating nobody.
The first half, no, you're not.
You're not beating nobody. I don't care. You go get the Bulls from '96. Go get the Lakers from '72. You're not beating nobody. You're not losing to nobody when the team's shooting almost 80% on the long ball in the first half. That means you got to go completely ice cold in the second half, and they didn't do that.
That's not gonna happen again. I don't think these two.
When has it happened before that? How about that?
Never happened before.
I think the Clippers did that against Dallas in that one game. I think it was game 3 where they shot almost 80%. They didn't do it again. So,
but I do like Indy's team. I think you don't give Indy enough credit because even though they beat a depleted Bucks team, they did play a pretty healthy Knicks team. Even though Hart was kind of hurt and I don't know, Brunson played. DiVincenzo was playing really well. Halliburton played well. Pascal Siakam played good. Turner played well. They have a pretty good team.
The Knicks lost 3 of their starters.
Well, you're talking about Randall's been out since what, the regular season?
Yeah, January. They got 3 of their starters out.
They adjusted without Randall, and then what are the next 2?
How do you adjust without your second best player and your best rebounder in Thomas Robinson? How do you adjust without that? And then adjust without OG Anunoby? How do you adjust without that?
They had Anunoby last game, but they have Brunson. Brunson did most of the work for them.
Are you really counting this game with Anunoby on the floor? He could hardly run.
He wasn't the same for sure, but they beat Philly. They beat a damn good Philly team. I don't think you give the Knicks
with a healthy Anunoby.
Yeah, with Anunoby, but I don't know. You think that cost them the series against Indiana? Anunoby?
Yes.
They were up 2-0 and then 3-2.
With Anunoby. He got hurt in game 3, I think it was.
Game 3?
Yes, he got hurt.
And then he came back for game 7?
Which he could hardly run. He shouldn't even been out there. He couldn't even run. He only played like 3 minutes or some nonsense like that.
But Indy played well. Indy played pretty well.
No, they took advantage of they took advantage of an opportunity. Listen, I'm on record saying this. It is not my problem if you can't hold up. That's a you problem.
Exactly.
That is not my problem. If you can't, if we run a race and you blow a tire, that's your fault, not mine.
Nobody's talking about how Boston beat a Jimmy Butler-less, Rozier-less Heat, and then they played what's it called, the Cavs without how long was Mitchell out? I think it was game 3 he got hurt.
4.
Game 4, and 5.
Yep.
And no Jared Allen entire series.
Hey man, that's not my fault that you can't hold up. That is not my issue. That's a you problem. So.
But I think it should be a good conference finals between both. I think both are going 6+. But I do have Minnesota and I have Boston.
We're gonna find out. Yes,
and
we are.
Let's say hypothetically Minnesota and Indiana played in the finals. You would hate the concept of that, right?
I mean, I would have to talk about it, of course, but
we'd have 2 franchises that have never won a championship facing off. Do you remember the last time that was?
The last time two teams never won a championship facing off.
You should know this.
Toronto never won a championship, but the Warriors did. Mm-hmm. Cleveland never won a championship, but the Warriors did. Miami had already won a championship, and the Heat had already won a championship. Dallas hadn't won the championship, but the Heat did.
You're getting there.
Let's see. The Lakers, San Antonio had won it. Cleveland didn't.
San Antonio, Detroit, and
then they had already won it.
Now you're coming.
Miami and
Dallas.
And Dallas, yeah.
Miami and Dallas. Yep.
Those 2 guys hadn't won it. They hadn't won the NBA championship. Yep. Yeah. So that's what it is.
Last question. I have a start bench count, the 2 are the best duos ever, right? I have Kuzi and Russell, West and Chamberlain, and I have Robertson and Kareem. What do you do? Start bench count.
Robinson and Jabbar. He got Jabbar. Jabbar got Oscar on the other side of his career. He basically got Chris Paul. He got Oklahoma City Chris Paul. Who else did you say? You said Kuzi and Russell?
Kuzi and Russell, and then West and Chamberlain.
I'm going to start Kuzi and Russell.
Okay.
I'm benching Oscar and Jabbar, and I'm cutting Chamberlain and Jerry.
Yeah, Chamberlain was already at that age. I think Chamberlain was already old when he had West.
Yep, I'm benching those 2. So even though Chamberlain was still awesome, Jerry West didn't use him nearly as much as he should have. I mean, in game 7,
I think they all won the championship. I think it was 72 for the Lakers, 71 for Milwaukee, and then I think Kuzi and Russell both won in 57 and 59.
And in 60, and in 61, and in
I think Kuzi retired. When did Kuzi retire? Like 61? 62?
Yep. The year after they won the championship. So
yeah. Good talking to you, Will.
All right, brother. Out.
Bye.
What up, D?
No, how you?
What's up, brother?
Hey man, I think the T-Wolves is a bad matchup for Dallas. I think I almost want to say sweep, but I respect Luka and Kyrie. But
it's cool to say it, D. I got him beating them in 5. You can say sweep. I got him beating them in 5.
Rudy don't have to deal with no type of big man like Jokic for the rest of the playoffs, however long they last. So I feel like you trying to dump back down where it's like
I can't hear my man D Reed. See if I can get him back. Hold on. See if I can get my man back. I'm going in and out. See if I can get him back. So, see if I can get him back. Because it's about that time for me. I got to bounce. I'm going to talk to D Reed another time. Definitely going to get with him another time. But it's about that time for me. It was good to see you guys tonight. I definitely went over time tonight. I usually don't stay on this long. I'm usually on here for about an hour. But, you know, we had a lot of action yesterday. We had a lot of people up here. So it was good to see you guys. It was dope. You know what time it is when you guys see me. You already know what it is when you guys see me. And I will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. Call your mother. When last time you talk to your mother, man? I will see you guys soon. But until then, take it light. Take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys tonight.